Have you ever wanted to create $1,000,000? Have you ever wanted to be a millionaire? Well, I had that idea recently myself, and I decided to do something about it. And in this new series, I'm going to document the good, the bad, and the ugly of my $1,000,000 journey. Hi, my name is Edward James Carey. Welcome to Praxis Living, where I create content to help you create the life that you desire. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you probably know that I am in the personal development space. I typically create content in a general sense to help people create lives that they want to live. This video series is going to be specifically focused on creating financial wealth, because that is a common denominator for a lot of individuals. And it is a common denominator for myself. I need to create financial wealth. I'm tired of messing around with my goals. And in January 2023, I made the decision coming home from work one day that I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to become a millionaire by December 31st, 2023. And I had no idea how that was going to occur. Now, the very same evening that I was taking a drive on the day that I made this decision, I heard a crystal clear voice in my head tell me, if you're going to do this, if you're going to create $1,000,000 in 12 months, you need to let go of every concept and belief that you've ever had about trading time for money, because you're not going to make $1,000,000 trading time for money. So that key was given to me. I knew that, at least. I still didn't have a clue as to what I was going to do to create $1,000,000. But this whole series is going to demonstrate exactly how I'm going to do that. And this session 1 video is about giving you the backstory of how I got to this day, Sunday, July 30th, 2023, all the way from January 2023. Now, I was working full-time in the plumbing industry in January when I made this decision. And as I continued to go back into work every day, I already knew that I was not going to make my goal in the plumbing industry. I had been told, let go of every concept you've had of trading time for money. Do not link these two things together. So as I continued to go back into work, I noticed that my emotions were coming slightly more and more down throughout the weeks that I kept going into work. Now, the first major shift that happened in this year to begin shifting into my self-made millionaire status was I was told by work in March that there was going to be a break. My company had new projects, but they were still new and they didn't require entire crews. And the building that I was on was coming to a close, and I was told, we have a shortage of work, and I immediately asked for a layoff. To take a break from work, I told my employer at the time, I have some things that I'm trying to do. I have some goals that I have set, and I would like to take some time off since there's no work, and I would like to pursue some of my own things. And the company was very understanding and accommodating and gave me the layoff. Now in Canada, just so you know, I don't know where you're watching this from, but in Canada, we have a very good social system. And in my position when I'm unemployed, I have the benefit of collecting what's called unemployment insurance, which is temporary. And so that is currently what I'm living on. However, it has a deadline and it runs out in a certain time frame. And my primary objective is figuring out how to become financially stable before my employment insurance runs out and I have to face the opportunity of returning to work. So that was the first major shift that happened in March of 2023. The next major shift that happened in this year to get me to where I am today was A personal mentor by the name of Quasi Joe here, who I found online in November of 2022. And I had a 1-hour Zoom call with him, and I knew instantly I wanted to work with this man. He had a program called Reality Mastery, and I decided it wasn't time for me to invest in that program as much as I wanted to do it. So I was waiting. But I knew I wanted to work with this man. And fortunately, everything in the universe aligned. Quasi created a brand new entry-level program called Reality Creation Academy, which I applied for. I was one of the first 100 members of in May. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you're a fellow member of the Reality Creation Academy. And you and I know we're having a blast in there. Now, I am taking all of the information that I am learning from Quasi and combining it with 20 plus years of personal development experience. And I am now demonstrating how I'm using this material in my financial life to create the financial goals that I want. Now, how am I going to do that? I still had no clue how this was going to happen, even when I joined this Reality Creation Academy in May of this year. I still had no clue of how I was going to create $1 million. I knew that I couldn't trade time for money. And I also knew that I wanted the money to come from things that I enjoy doing, not from things that I don't enjoy doing. So I was having fun during the month of May and the month of June. And in the process of joining Reality Creation Academy in May and June, I accomplished one of the major goals that I had in my life for the past several years, and that was to begin a YouTube channel, which you now have the privilege of watching. So if you're subscribing to this channel, I want to thank you for your support. I'm a brand new active channel. I know that this channel is going to be successful in its own time, but it is no longer the sole focus of how I'm actively going to make my $1 million. I have a plan of action now, and I'm going to start shifting into what that plan is. But starting a YouTube channel was critical because had I not started that channel, I would not be filming this series for the benefit of you to assist you and inspire you in creating a massive financial life. Starting a YouTube channel was a part of the process, but it wasn't the process itself. Now, I also happen to have a very good friend in real life named Amos Bracewell, and this man has started his own business and Facebook group called Empowerment Network TV, which I am a member of, and I'm helping him create. And again, we're having a blast in there. You may be part of the Empower Network, catching these videos from seeing me in the Empower Network. And if you're here, again, I want to thank you for supporting a new channel. And this is me demonstrating the power of reality creation, which I talk about in the Empower Network. But Amos, knowing that I'm an investor and a successful investor, by the way, since 2017 to 2023 present day, I have been successfully investing and saving money the slow way. I managed to go from zero to my first 100,000 in the past 6 to 7 years. But in order to achieve $1 million, I was not going to wait 20 to 25 years for that to happen. I wanted it done this year. Now, as an investor, one of the things that I learned was that trading was a guaranteed way to lose money. That's what I was taught. I was taught that 97 to 98% of traders do not make money, they lose money. And you need to know this if you have any ideas of attempting to copy what I'm about to do and demonstrate. That being said, my friend Amos introduced me to a woman who was successful in trading, and she told me her story. I met with her in real life, and she sat down with me and she told me that she has never lost money in a trade in almost 4 months. That got my attention. I said, okay, I would like you to show me what you're doing. And fortunately, I had the wisdom enough to listen and to learn. And by the time I returned home that evening, she had given me enough knowledge to actually get started in the process of becoming an active trader, which is how I'm going to make $1 million. Now, I'm also going to put this out on this video right from the beginning so that you know where I'm going with this. This is session 1 on Sunday, July 30th, 2023. I intend to create $1 million in cash by December 31st, 2023. So I have 5 months to pull this off. 5 months. Now, I'm not starting from zero. You also need to know that. I'm starting with an active trade balance, which we're going to get into. I'm going to show you some of the tips and some of the tools that I've used in order to set myself up to this present day moving forward, and why I'm starting this series right now. So follow me over to my desktop here for a couple of minutes, and I have some things to show you. If you are going to do what I'm doing, and you are going to consider being a trader, there's a couple things you're going to need. Number one is you're going to need an active broker account with a good broker that does not charge you for transactions. That is very critical. I will share some of the story about my first 4 to 6 weeks in trading and why it was so imperative that I do not pay for fees. In Canada, Wealthsimple is the only brokerage firm that I know of that offers zero commission trading. You can buy and sell stocks. You do not pay a transaction charge. You do not pay for the buys and sells. You will pay 1.5% to convert Canadian cash to American. And I believe that's about it. So there is a cost there. But other than that, zero commission trading. I believe they're the first in Canada to offer this. And I've been with Wealthsimple since November 2020. So you're going to need a broker account. You're going to need to set up an account. Now there's 3 options: RSP, TFSA, or non-tax sheltered account. You're going to have to choose which of those 3 accounts you open. I have an account of all 3 types. There are pros and cons of using all 3 of these types of accounts, which I'm not going to cover in session 1 here. But you are going to need to do some research and figure out which of these accounts you're going to open. You're going to have to open an account, link your bank account, and then you're going to have to put a little bit of money in your broker account and just leave it in cash. That's all you want to do. You're going to need that. The second thing you're going to need is you're going to need a software program called TradingView. And that's this screen here. Let me just blow up this screen here. This is called TradingView. And what this is this gives you access to watch real-time activity of companies on the stock market. And in this case, we're looking at a company called AI. The ticker symbol is AI, which stands for C3.ai. It's the company. I am exclusively trading in shares of AI. I will give you some information on how to pick a company, maybe in another session. But in this session, I want to cover why the buzz with AI. Now, as you can see over here, let me blow this back up. As you can see over here, I've got some other stocks listed. Apple, AMD, Amazon, Google, Tesla, NVIDIA. These are some of the largest companies in America in the AI technology sector. And one of the things you need to know is part of the reason that the person I'm learning from and myself, I have never lost money either yet in the past 8 weeks that I've been trading. But I have had money tied up that I couldn't get access to. I didn't lose anything. I ended up getting back out at a profit, but I had to wait. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of the story about how that occurred. When I began trading in June, I began trading shares of AI right in this area here. Now, if you can see, the average price of shares of AI had reached a peak of $48 a share. And in this day here, in this one day, Thursday, June 15th, I was investing trading capital in shares of AI, and the market and the shares started to drop. And I rushed all of my trading capital into buying more and more shares on the way down to do something called dollar cost averaging. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And then what proceeded to happen was this: day after day after day after day. I watched $20,000 worth of capital, or $22,000 total, plummet all the way down to $13,000 in a matter of 1 to 2 weeks. We're at Thursday, June 15th, and here's Friday, June 23rd. So those couple of weeks, they hurt. Okay? They really tested me. But I knew rule number one, which I was told by the person who is training me, which is don't lose money. So what does that mean? That means that we don't sell at a loss. We wait inevitably for the market to go back up so that we can sell out our positions. Now, this is where I would like to say it is for this specific reason that I do not touch crypto. I do not touch commodities. I do not touch options. I trade and put my money into shares of companies that have intrinsic value, so that if I make a bad buy entry, the worst thing that happens is I get stuck with a lot of shares of a good company that are on hold, and I just wait. I have two options. I can wait and let the market go back up to sell them, or I can employ dollar cost averaging to begin buying myself out of the position, again at a profit. But there's a way that I'm going to explain in this series of videos on how to do that. But you know, here's the funny thing. I only learned about how to do dollar cost averaging by having my money held for 4 weeks in the beginning. It was almost as if God put me on a timeout on purpose. He said, Ed, you have no clue what you're doing, so here you go. Have fun watching your money dive. And so while I was waiting for the market to turn around, I noticed that I still had a couple $100 in my trading account, and I started actively trading one share at a time, making 25 to 30 to 40 cents on a share, and then selling it. This is why it's critical to have an account where you can trade with no trading commissions, okay? Because it allowed me the power to begin practicing with one single share at a time. Now, if you noticed, the values on the shares of AI are right around $39.76 average. At this time, they were a little bit higher than that. As you can see, the market receded down to around a low of about 32, and it has been slowly making its way up ever since. And because of dollar cost averaging, I was able to sell out most of the shares that I bought here somewhere around this point, and I was able to break even with a little bit of profit, and then move forward. That being said, I've only been actively trading for around the past 2 weeks. Now, I started with a trading balance of around $22,000, and I have since liquidated all of my long-term investments and put that into trading cash as well. And so I would like to show you what I am starting with as of tomorrow morning. I'm starting with a balance of $49,790. Now, as you can see here, 31.8 thousand of that is in cash holdings, and I still have 450 shares worth almost 18,000, which I have not sold yet, because even though this return here says that I can, I want to get a higher price on those. Again, we will talk about that in real time as I am working on this tomorrow morning. So I just wanted to share that information with you. I'm not starting from zero. I'm starting from a balance of just under $50,000. Now, I have been actively trading with cash flow for the past 2 weeks. Now, week number 1, I don't really have a clear total on what I profited, but just last week, I closed a $4,000 week. You can call that my first real week of trading. I closed a profit of $4,000. Now, to put this in perspective, that's 4,000 US dollars, and I'm a Canadian citizen, so the exchange on that makes it more like 5,500 or more. Number 2, I don't know if you noticed, but the account that I'm using to trade in is called a tax-free savings account. And in that account in Canada, you are allowed to buy and sell stocks. You are allowed to make a profit, and it is non-taxable income. So I am starting with a balance of just under 50,000. I'm going into a new week starting tomorrow morning. I've walked you through a little bit of some of the things you will need to get set up if you're going to join me on this journey. But if you just want to simply observe how I actively take my $50,000 and multiply it into $1 million in the next 5 months, that is what this series of videos is designed to do. I just want to take a moment in closing and let you know, we as human beings, we have the power to create any life that we want. I don't know where you're at in life. I know that I've been studying and applying personal development for 20 plus years, but a missing critical piece of the puzzle for me has only occurred this year. And I am now actively demonstrating that missing piece in my life to actively create more money than I have ever thought that I could earn. I want to go back on this because $4,000 in a week, that is more money than I was earning working a full-time month in the plumbing trade. By the time you take off tax and take-home pay, and I was getting paid Canadian dollars, I did better last week in 1 week of trading than I did in an entire month of plumbing, and I'm just starting out. And I am really excited about what I'm doing. I have made sure that I've set up all this new technology just so that I could record and document my process to let it serve as a living example and testimony of what is possible with the right mindset, the right information, the right education, and the right application of certain knowledge and principles. And I hope that this video series inspires you to take whatever financial resources. You don't have to have $50,000 like I do. In fact, for 4 to 6 weeks, I traded an active balance of less than $200. And my goals during those days was to make $5 to $10 a day. And I did. Habits are more important than numbers. I want you to remember this. If you have good habits, it doesn't matter how much money you're dealing with. If you have good habits to buy at the right time and to sell at the right time in stock trading, you will be profitable. And I'm going to show you how it works. I want to thank you for taking this time here tonight and joining me. It's nighttime for me anyway. And I hope this video serves you. Tomorrow morning, I am going to record the first day of me actively multiplying my money so that you can see in real time the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can see when I'm buying. I'm going to share with you about what's going on in my mind at the times that I'm buying and selling. I'm going to be sitting here at times looking at the screen. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on. And I want you to see firsthand what my life is like when it comes to making money so that you can decide if this is something that you want to venture into yourself. I'm going to be successful at it. I know that the woman who's teaching me is successful at it, and I wish her the best. If you're watching this, you know who you are. You're going to be wealthy just by proximity. We discussed that. That's about all I want to cover for today. And if you want to catch the next video in the series, I will add a title card at the end of this video to carry you forth into that next video. You can watch that next video right over here. Thank you again for watching. My name is Edward James Carey, wishing you the best of life.